Now, this is why we shouldn't bother memorizing formulas for basic surface area. Well, I shouldn't say basic. This is not basic. This is complicated, and we have to understand what the shape is, and we're better off just figuring it out based on the specific situation. So remember, a pyramid, we do have one of those in the reference chart, but they only give us the volume formula. So you can look at the reference chart to get a sense of the picture, but it's not going to help you in terms of solving this. What we need to recognize is, I'm going to try my best to draw this. We have a square base, so it kind of looks like this, right, where it's going to be three-dimensional. And then we have the pyramid itself, so it kind of, oh boy, this is where it gets really hard, kind of looks like this maybe, where we have the top point. Oh my God, this is so slanted, but you kind of get my point. Look, it kind of looks like that, right? So the trouble is we can see that the area of the square base is 64. So without even really thinking too hard, we then know that these are going to be 8 because that's a square. 8 times 8 is 64. So that's nice and easy. But the height of the pyramid is tricky. We need to recognize that that is some interior dimension, right? So that's inside the pyramid, not on it. So that point I just drew in the center there, that is the middle of the square base. So this is a line that kind of drops right down. Again, in the reference chart, the picture that they give us of a pyramid has a height drawn in a similar way. But if we're thinking about surface area, we need heights that are on the surfaces themselves, on the faces of this pyramid, because the part of this is easy, right? So we have basically two things going on. We're going to have the square that we already kind of know the area of is 64, plus the pyramid has 4 triangular faces. So there's 4 of these triangles, whatever they are. That's going to give us the total surface area, okay? So we have the base, that's easy. We need to find the area of one of these triangles. But if we draw it out and we try to think about it, we have the base is 8, but this height here that we would need to do 1/2 base times height is different from the height of 3 that we were given. So we have to get there. And this is a very common move when we have SAT questions involving three-dimensional shapes. We have to use, in some way, Pythagorean theorem to move around the shape. So hopefully you can understand my picture here. I'm going to draw another line along the square base that's going to be at a right angle to the height. All right, so the height is coming straight up. This line I'm drawing is just like this. Then there's another final kind of height that is on the edge or on the face of the pyramid. That's the hypotenuse of a right triangle that I am making that's inside the pyramid. And that height there is the one I'm looking for. So actually, let's even use a different color so it's really clear. I'm going to use this purple. So that right there, that purple line is the height that I want, is the actual height of the triangle on the face that I can use to use basic area equals 1/2 base times height for the area of a triangle. So we've got to find that. How do we do that? Well, the one leg of the right triangle we have is 3, that's the height. And then that blue line that I drew, you can kind of see is half of the length of the entire square base. So 1/2 of 8 is 4. And we can do Pythagorean theorem here, but hopefully we also just kind of remember that 3, 4, 5 is a very common right triangle relationship. So we can, without doing Pythagorean theorem, maybe skip and realize that this height is 5. So again, if you really wanted to, just so that we know, it would be 3 squared plus 4 squared equals that c squared. That's 9 plus 16 is c squared. 25 is c squared. C is 5. Done. Right. So now we have everything we need to do the basic formula for an area of a triangle. So that's 1/2. The base is 8. The height is 5. So 1/2 of 8 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. So the area of one of these triangles is 20. But remember, that's one of them. There's 4 of them. So we're going to add basically 64 plus 4 times 20, which is 80. And that is 144. Just double check that because I'm a little nervous here, but 64 plus 80, 144. So there you go. That is it. Choice C. And that's annoying. This is a complicated problem. It's a hard question. This would definitely be near the end of a module. This would be kind of confusing. And there's definitely, I forget which answer choice, but I bet one of them uses the 3 that we were given in the question as the height for the triangle. And so we'd actually end up with a smaller surface area overall. So probably A or B is the answer we would get if we use the wrong height. To be clear, another question that's also about the surface area of a pyramid might give us the height that we're looking for, the height that's actually on the surface of the triangle. So you just don't know. You got to pay attention to what they're giving you. And that's why I say don't memorize a formula for this situation. You're better off just adapting to whatever the circumstances are that they give you, but recognize that you're always thinking about the outside faces of the shape, those flat two-dimensional shapes that are making up the outside. So if we are given dimensions that don't directly line up with those shapes, we've got a problem that we need to fix. And in many cases with 3D shapes, that problem is going to involve, or fixing that problem is going to involve Pythagorean theorem. So that is a very common move. Remember, if you have questions, please put them in the comments. This is a hard question. It is not a high priority for most people. It is very, very, very unlikely that you will see the surface area of a pyramid on your SAT.